Grocery store chain Loblaws has announced record profits. This is while they continue to underpay their frontline workers during this pandemic. So first, the headline here from Kitchener Today. Pandemic-related spending patterns help Loblaws beat Q3 profit expectations. Now, if you read through this piece, which is a Canadian press piece, doesn't mention anything at all about Loblaws underpaying their workers, and in fact, canceling an increase in their pay over the summer. So, revenue for what was a 16-week period totaled $15.67 billion, up from nearly $14.66 billion in the same quarter a year earlier. Oh, isn't that fantastic? Yeah, read through this, no mention at all about how they're underpaying employees. I will get to, though, in a minute, a headline that actually surprisingly did put this into context. But first here, look, there are strikes going on around the country right now of Loblaws workers. Again, you'd think this is something that would be mentioned in a piece like this, but didn't bring it up. But there are workers on strike. And they scrapped a $2 hourly bonus for grocery store workers over the summer. So a little more on this specifically. Quote, I feel like people don't understand. They don't see the people crying in the break rooms every day because they're so scared of getting their families sick. No one sees that. Loblaws employee Jocelyn Leask told CTV News for the streaming app Quibi on Saturday. On top of her regular duties as a seafood clerk, Leask was also asked to help out in other departments, deliver groceries to vehicles waiting in the parking lot, and count customers at the door to abide by new capacity limits. Quote, I've never really worked that many hours, and especially in that environment where you have to be safe, she said. It's a lot to take in. So I think it said the added hours here. Yeah. So her hours were 34 hours a week. Now it's, or at least this is over the summer, up to 60 hours per week. And the only thing offsetting that was that the fact that their pay was at least increased by $2. And then Loblaws, because they want to make more money for their shareholders, cut that pay increase. And then all of a sudden, wow, look at that. Increasing profits year over year, looking fantastic. The reality is this is capitalism. This is when you have a company this large, employing this many people, working this hard on the front lines of this pandemic, allowing people to get through this time. When their pay is cut and they're still able to have articles talking about how it's awesome that Loblaws beat Q3 profit expectations, this is the issue with capitalism. We have a system here where it's just normal. It's completely normal to focus on how well a company is doing as opposed to how well people are doing. If we had a media that actually, where the focus was on the working class, as it should be, the media should be representing the interests of the working class. If we had a media that properly represented that, these companies would not be able to get away with this. But we have a media here that continues to prop up the shareholders, prop up these massive corporations over the interests of the average person. I do want to share one thing, though, that surprised me. The Star actually reported this accurately in their headline. Loblaw raises shareholders' dividend but won't be reinstating hero pay to frontline workers. This is exactly how the news should be covering this. If you're going to mention how shareholders are benefiting, you have to also mention how the workers of that company are doing. Without the two together, you don't have the full picture. But ultimately, we continue operating within this capitalist system that limits our ability to have any sort of power and any sort of real agency over our lives. That's happening all across the world, by the way. It's not just, it's not just Loblaws. It's pretty much every massive corporation. This is how workers are treated. This is how the media, how society looks at all of these issues, looks at how the corporation is doing, how the shareholders are doing. There's always the business part or the business section of local news or of national news. They always have that part where they talk about how the markets are doing. Why isn't there 10 minutes spent on how the working class is doing? Like, think about, you have to understand how the entire media is revolves around a capitalist system and never questions the status quo. When you have news, put aside 10 minutes to talk about business and not 10 minutes to talk about how the working class is doing, it shows you how skewed our media is.